everyone. Let's all take our seats. We are getting a bit of a late start, but I'm told that there was a cushion included in the programming this morning, so hopefully it won't take us very long to get our train back on the track. This morning, I could not be more honored to stand before you and bring greetings. I am Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, and I don't care where you're here from. I am your CEO. Yes, thank you. Thank you. In the words of Mayor Dickens, we draw circles and not lines. This for us is our 5th year. And let me say that I started the Small Business Summit as the commissioner of Super District 7 because, of course, for me, even back then, I understood the importance of economic development in our communities. And many of the areas that I represent, we are in need of development. But also it's bigger than that, because today we are going to talk about procurement and how to do business in DeKalb. And I want to be very clear when I say that government is the #1 procurer of services in the world. If you are not doing business with government, you're not doing business. I want to be very clear that we need absolutely everything. We need individuals that provide the most basic services, whether it's painting, whether it's food services, whether it's higher level services, utilities. There are a ton of opportunities, and it's very important to me as CEO that I ensure each and every person in this room understands how to do business. Also, for those of you who desire to own a business, we have a variety of products that are designed to help you help us, and to help you help us expand economic development within our communities. So this morning, I look forward to having very informative discussions. We have assembled here for you today, honestly, a stellar cast of absolutely amazing individuals who can give you all the information that you need to be successful, whether it's in DeKalb County or in any of our other 159 counties. You know, I'm Southern. I am from LA, down in Lower Alabama. And my grandfather used to always say that it doesn't matter what you do in business, it's how you do business. Once you build the proper foundation, then you will and can be successful. So understanding that success is when preparation meets opportunity, today we're going to prepare you for the opportunities that lie ahead. So with that, I will take my seat, and now let the program begin. Let's stay fully engaged, and let's walk out of here better than we came in. And this feels like a reunion. There are so many familiar faces here, and I'm very grateful, truly grateful for your presence. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's June Lee, and I have the distinct privilege of serving as CEO of Emory Healthcare, and I just want to thank CEO Cochran-Johnson, the county, and the Chamber of Commerce, as well as Decide DeKalb in terms of getting all the people together. And thank you on behalf of Emory and Emory Healthcare for letting us be a part of it and a participant in a sense, and even hosting a little bit of it. And I know just looking around the room, I'm incredibly impressed at just the vibrancy and the number of people who are active, but I shouldn't be surprised. I know everything that my colleague Kendra Price has something to do with. She puts the energy in, and behind every successful get-together like this, when you have this many people coming together with energy, there's someone who's making all the connections. So thank you for bringing us here and letting us be part of this, and I really look forward to part of the program. You know, Emory and Emory Healthcare, we're proud to be part of DeKalb County because that's our home. That's where we do most of our business. We do extend beyond that, but that's really the core of what we do. And I was asking a little bit earlier what qualifies as a small business. So we don't probably qualify quite as small business anymore, but we do a lot of business with small business, right? And the vibrancy of that business is critically important. And the economic vibrancy of the county and the surrounding area is critically important for our success. And we like to think we also contribute to that. So figuring out how we can work together, partnership in business, in other ways as a responsible community member is critically important for us. And hopefully forums like this will produce ideas and efforts that will also keep on going. And I'm also actually a resident of DeKalb County. I live in DeKalb County, pay DeKalb County taxes, and proud to do so. So having forums like this and your businesses be vibrant is triply important in that regard. So thank you again for letting us participate. This is really one of the beginnings in terms of what we want to do. We as an organization want to be much more intimately involved and engaged with the community, and the small businesses are a critical part of the community. So thank you once again, and really look forward to a great conference. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dorian DeBar, and I proudly serve as president of Decide DeKalb Development Authority. We are the economic development arm for DeKalb County, and we are a small but very mighty team here in DeKalb County. First, I want to start here with a couple of facts. Folks, it is a pleasure to see you all as a small business owner or employee. You all proudly represent 99% of all businesses in DeKalb County. Let me say that again. You all represent the backbone of DeKalb County. 99%. You all also employ nearly half of our citizens, so families can afford to live in DeKalb County. Families can afford to live comfortably in DeKalb County because of your efforts. So I just want to say, before I go any further, thank you, Madam CEO, for hosting this event once again. And I do want to say this. So because of all of those things that I just said, here in DeKalb County, folks, we don't take that lightly. So at your disposal today, Madam CEO has brought together a host of not only businesses, but infrastructure and stakeholders here in DeKalb County that mean the best. Decide DeKalb Development Authority, the Chamber of Commerce, as well as Emory University, where we are. So, and let me tell you a little bit more about Decide DeKalb. If you aren't familiar with Decide DeKalb, please familiarize yourself with Decide DeKalb today. So I want to take this moment here. My staff in the room, can you please stand? Staff of Decide DeKalb. Yes, Tara Washington, Katrina Young. I wanted those folks to stand because please get to know us, reach out to them, learn what we do and why we do it. I'm happy to announce that we recently, this year, just launched with the support of DeKalb County government, the very first small business loan fund here in DeKalb County. We're offering loans from $50,000 to $150,000. We're filling the gap, folks. We're filling the gaps here at Decide DeKalb. And in closing, I'd like to say this. I see today's theme is navigating small businesses in an uncertain federal climate. It is an uncertain time. Every single day seems to be something new and something stark. But let me tell you what is consistent and what has been certain for all these years. When I met Madam CEO day one, she has always been pro-business and a champion for small businesses and a champion for DeKalb County. So rest assured you have certainty here in DeKalb County, and we fall in alignment with her, and we are here to support you. So I look forward to today's events. I look forward to more moderations, more panels, and thank you all for your time.
Good morning, friends and colleagues. Thank you for being here. Oh, hold on, let me back up. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I love it. Now that was very loud. I like it. Hey, excellent. Again, good morning. I'm Frankie Atwater, President and CEO of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce, and you probably recognize some of that energy. that I bring into the room and our team bring into the room, because we are your small business group. We are the organization that supports you. It's our mission to support you as a small business. And it's also our mission to develop programs to assist you as a small business owner. Many of you are here this morning, you have startups. You have what we call mom and pop shops that you want to get off the ground. You're a little nervous. You want to get some pointers on how to move that business forward. As Madam CEO mentioned, you're in the right spot. We have a star set lineup for you this morning. We have individuals that are here with you this morning to have a plethora of knowledge for you as a small business owner, to get you off the ground, to help you expand your business. We also have a group of people here to help you to continue to collaborate and understand what it takes to run a small business. And believe me, I hear it all the time about the fear of failure, the fear of moving a business forward. You're here this morning to share those stories with your colleagues. If you have a fear of moving forward, share it with your colleagues, network. How did they get over that hurdle? How did they make it to that next level? This is what you're here for this morning. You want to take something back that is tangible for you as a small business. The DeKalb Chamber of Commerce, I'll take 2 minutes because we have to get ourselves started here, and just give you a little bit about what we're doing. It's, in a sense, the state of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. We are currently working closely with our friends at DeKalb County and focusing on how we can improve corridors in DeKalb County. What does that mean for you as a small business? As we focus on improving corridors, it attracts people to you, to come to your restaurant, to come to your business. The investments we make in infrastructure, landscaping, signage, frontage for your businesses, that we're doing that at the Chamber. But what I really enjoy the most is that we're working with our universities, and specifically Mercer University, on creating what we call, some may call it a small business accelerator. Some may call it an incubator. We call it an academy, because we want to make sure that small businesses are not only owners are educated, but you understand the nuts and bolts of how to be successful in business. So I don't want to take up much more of your time, because if I get comfortable up here, I'll start talking about all the other great things that we're doing at the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce, because I really want you to know that your chamber is well and healthy. And you can count on your chamber as a member, and I'm speaking as the president and CEO. You can count on your chamber as a member that we are fulfilling that mission. And we want you to join us in fulfilling that, so we can assist other businesses, not only those here in the room today, but other businesses in DeKalb County. Just imagine, you got over 70,000 small businesses in DeKalb County. I'm talking about those that are at home, that one-person consulting firm that is registered as a small business. And then you have over 18,000 that employ people in DeKalb County and the surrounding region in our area. So imagine that and what you have to network with. Also, before I conclude my remarks, I want to recognize our sponsors, those that have been very involved in helping us be successful in pulling this event off. Our presenting sponsors, our friends here at DeKalb County. Our gold sponsor is Decide DeKalb, which is I call our partner organization. And then our silver sponsor is Benchmark and WorkSource DeKalb. And then in addition to that is our International Design Services. These are businesses, as well as the county, that are investing into this event to make it happen today. And then our media sponsor, our friends at DCTV. If you don't really know DCTV and what they do, and if you're in the media business, or you're in the type of business that works with advertisements, television, you need to reach out to our friends at DCTV. I would ask you to network with them to gain some pointers. You'll hear about one of those in some of our sessions today. And our bronze sponsor, Advanced Engineering and Construction, Atlanta Black Expo, C.D. Moody Construction Company Incorporated has been around with DeKalb for a long time. Jacobs as well, and Pond, who's also been a consultant firm that's been involved in what we do here in DeKalb County on a high level. RB Communications and the Collaborative Firm. So you have a lot of groups here with us this morning. So let's give our sponsors a round of applause. So now I think it's what you've all been waiting for, to hear some pointers from some of our constituents here with us this morning that bring a plethora of experience to the table that can do a lot of work and will be doing a lot along with our CEO, Lorraine Cochran-Johnson. So let's take our panels, or bring our panels up for our next set for our fireside chat with our CEO, Lorraine Cochran-Johnson.
It's an honor to welcome you this morning. And before I do the introduction for the panel, I want to just do some quick housekeeping. So again, thank you for joining us. We are in our first session, which will be the fireside chat. So you can all stay where you are, enjoy the fireside chat. After this session ends, we will have 3 concurrent panel discussions going on. If you already have your program, there should be a QR code on your table. You can scan that to get the program, and you can see the 3 panels that are going on after this session. Feel free to choose one. Just know that there will be a session this afternoon with the same 3 sessions. So if there's 2 you really want to go to, you can do one this afternoon. If there's a third, which I think you'll probably all be interested in all 3, our wonderful folks at DCTV are recording it. It's also live streaming, but we will make the recording of all 3 sessions available after today, so probably in next week sometime. After you go to the first few sessions, we will have lunch here. So we will come back here after your session this morning. We will have our keynote speaker speak here while we enjoy our delicious lunch. And then after that, we'll be able to go to the afternoon sessions. After the afternoon sessions, we'll have one more time that we'll come back in this room. So we'll be in this room 3 times for our final session, which is really digging in how to do business specifically in DeKalb County, understanding procurement, et cetera. So hopefully you'll be able to stick with us the whole day so that you could leave with just great information about how to partner with us after this. All right, so now I have the honor of introducing this amazing panel. This fireside chat is titled Navigating Small Businesses Through Economic Uncertainty, and I'm sure we can all relate to that, so I'm very excited to hear tips from these amazing panelists. Our moderator for this session is our CEO and my boss, CEO Lorraine Cochran-Johnson. Tell you a little bit about CEO Cochran-Johnson. In 2024, she made history as the first Black woman elected CEO of DeKalb County, Georgia. Woo, 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 woo. And today she leads Georgia's 4th largest county and what has been referred to as the most diverse county in the country. CEO Cochran-Johnson serves over 770,000 residents and manages more than a $1.5 billion budget.
All righty.
She oversees more than 6,000 employees across over 45 departments throughout DeKalb County. Since taking office, CEO has launched a bold agenda to reimagine DeKalb. We are making history in DeKalb, and I am so glad that you're all a part of it. She's secured historic infrastructure investments. She's raised pay for our law enforcement. She's leading affordable housing initiatives and driving efficiencies across county government. With an impressive background prior to joining us as a commissioner, as well as over 20 years in media, business, and as a public servant, CEO Cochran-Johnson is redefining what local government leadership can be. Please join me in giving a round of applause for our moderator, CEO Lorraine Cochran-Johnson. Joining us is Terry Dennison, Georgia District Director of the U.S. Small Business Administration. Terry has served in this role since 2002, overseeing SBA programs and resources that empower entrepreneurs across the state. She began her SBA career as a presidential management intern in Washington, D.C., and has held leadership roles in Indiana and Wisconsin. A graduate of Cornell University and Trinity University, Terry is a dedicated advocate for small businesses, helping them access capital, training, and development opportunities. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Terry Denison. We also have Veronica Maldonado Torres. We are very pleased to be joined by Ms. Maldonado Torres. I've been trying to make sure I don't mess it up.
I'm just happy you're saying my name.
Yeah, oh, there you go. President and CEO of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. A visionary leader and entrepreneur, Veronica brings over a decade of experience in supplier diversity and small business growth. She has guided the development of hundreds of firms, fostered strategic alliances with Fortune 500 companies, and created platforms that connect minority-owned businesses with opportunities. Known as a true business accelerator, she is also the founder of VMT Consulting and creator of the Driven to Thrive model. She inspires leaders across the metro Atlanta area, Georgia, and the nation, both entrepreneurs and leaders. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Veronica Maldonado Torres. And finally, and certainly not least,
Okay.
we are honored to have Ms. Stacy Key, President and CEO of Georgia Minority Supplier Development Council. Under her leadership, GMSDC connects minority businesses with corporate supply chains, driving economic growth across Georgia. In addition to her work with GMSDC, Stacy serves on the Georgia State Transportation Board, representing the 5th Congressional District, and as a board member of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. With more than 20 years of leadership at companies like IBM and Samsung, she brings unmatched expertise in business development, marketing, and operations. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Stacy Key. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present you your moderator, Ms. CEO Lorraine Cochran-Johnson.
Okay. Well, I am going to keep my seat. Hopefully everyone can hear. I think we're all mic'd. And let me say that Terry, and I'm going to be informal. The first thing that strikes me is this is a panel of women. The second thing, yeah,
Probably just about right.
yeah, and I'd also like to say, throughout the day, you'll hear me use colloquialisms. But when it comes to women in business, you know, I think it's so important for us to realize that your network determines your net worth. If you're not moving in a progressive way, you may need to rethink your circle and with whom you have conversation. Terry, you've been with me now for 5 years.
I have.
And I could not be more impressed with the work that you do. We rely on you heavily in terms of funding businesses that exist within DeKalb. Veronica, you are the new member of this group, but nonetheless, you have done amazing work. Stacy, your work in terms of GMSDC has just been absolutely phenomenal. So I'm very excited this morning. Now, I want to begin by saying, I hope everyone here realizes that you can be considered a small business in Georgia if you earn between 1 and 30 million.
That's exactly correct.
Okay? So technically, the threshold for being a small business is actually quite high. But most importantly, I want us to understand that small businesses, contrary to what many people believe, are truly the backbone of our society, not major corporations and Fortune 500 companies. And that's why you all are so important to us here today, because you create jobs and you drive economies. But as you know, we are dealing with quite unique times. So this particular panel is titled Navigating Small Businesses Through Economic Uncertainty. And for many of us that sit here today, I can say sitting where I sit, from day to day, one executive order can change everything about my existence. And honestly, it affects yours as well. Because the bulk of governmental revenue, besides the tax dollars that we collect, come from the federal level. So it has a direct impact. So I'm thrilled to be joined by you guys this morning. You bring a wealth of knowledge, and I'm just going to hop right in this morning with my questions. So, Veronica, let's begin with you this morning. As
Good morning.
the newbie, you get the first question,
Newbie, but not new to the work.
but not new to the
Okay.
work. So, tell us what makes DeKalb County a great place to do business in Georgia.
You know, that's a really tough question for me, and I'll share. I love our entire state because we do statewide work.
Yes.
But DeKalb County has a very special place in my heart. You know, it's my home county. You know, my family moved here from Cartagena, Colombia, over 43 years ago, and when we moved here, we went to Clarkston, Georgia. And so I've been a proud resident of this county and have seen our family's small business grow for the last 40 years. And there's many different things that I think of when I think of DeKalb County. You know, I think of the strategic location that we have, you know, the accessibility. I think about the workforce and talent that's in our backyard. We heard from Emory University. We've heard about some others. I think we have 14 colleges and universities, if I'm not mistaken, within our DeKalb ecosystem, which means we have great talent in our backyard to be able to fuel the small businesses that are here and the corporate partners that are here and those that are moving here to make sure that we've got the right talent and that we've got the right pipeline. We also have a great mix of diversity. You mentioned it earlier. You know, our community in particular, I think, is about 10% of the population, approximately. But you've got a plethora of communities here in our backyard that contribute to the melting pot that we are known for in America and that we're known for here in DeKalb County. Our rich corridors in Beaufort Highway, the Clarkston area, add to, and I loved hearing from Frankie earlier about the work that DeKalb Chamber, who's a great partner of the GHCC, by the way. Partnerships is another great thing about DeKalb County and doing business here, and the support through Decide DeKalb, which, by the way, I have to give everyone a huge shout out. I have been seeing a great level of intentionality in reaching out to all communities, communicating to all communities, and ensuring that they understand the business resources in the backyard. And I will say, one of the other things is, you know, to be able to bring the programs, capacity building programs, and services and support, whether it's through the Decide Economic Development Authority, great work Dorian and his team, or the work that the DeKalb Chamber is doing with connecting, you know, the corporate community and the small community with DeKalb County's focus and making sure that all small businesses, being the backbone of our economy and the #1 procurer of business, you know, that ecosystem is really wonderful to see, and it strengthens DeKalb County as far as well the accessibility to our airport. So, you know, we're an international county. We're an international state, and we need to do international business, not only domestic, but nationwide and internationally. So just, you know, the programs that we have, which I know from our part, we've been able to do some great things with DeKalb County and bringing small business programming, capacity building in our backyard. So that's my long-winded answer of why I love DeKalb and how DeKalb County really is a great place for business. And I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is when you show up, great things happen. So kudos to everybody here, because you're going to show up, you're going to get connected and see the resources that are here available to you. And I think that one of the things that I see from small business is the great work in building your business and doing the work, but make sure that you come out and connect so you can continue building that pipeline. And that pipeline is here under incredible leadership, and we thank you for leading DeKalb forward.
Thank you. And let me say, you know, Veronica, you are an excellent spokesperson for DeKalb. And that's really important because she leads a chamber. And you can't, I have seen people that would try to sell a well water. You can't manufacture caring. And when you speak with people, who they are tends to show itself. So that has always been one of the things that have impressed me most about you. You know, Veronica talked about education because DeKalb is very rich in terms of educational institutions. You also talked about diversity. And I want to be clear, we talk a lot about diversity. If you want to be technical, technically, DeKalb has the most diverse square mile in America in Clarkston, Georgia. But it's one thing to talk about it, and it's another to be about it.
That's right.
So I'm going to deviate from all these questions that I was given a bit. And I'm going to have a different type of conversation. Because, you know, I believe all of us sitting here, we see the shifts, and when we talk about navigating in uncertainty, we see the shifts away from diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I want to be clear, most of us that are sitting here today, we aren't at the table because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think it has been a tool in the toolbox, technically. But I want to be clear in feeling that the solution to DEI is one word, and that's education. If I ensure you know how to do business and you have access, together we overcome barriers. So that's why we're here today. And Veronica, because of working with the Hispanic community, I want to have that conversation. I want to talk about what it looks like now for business owners that are within the Hispanic community and what you are doing to help educate them so that they are aware that we are present. Because one of the things that I found as a commissioner is that we had had some people that had had contracts doing the same thing for over 25 years. And I found that just to be a little bit disturbing. Also, when we get down to having the conversation with you, Stacy, when we talk about, you know, minority inclusion, we have here in DeKalb County, LSBE, Local Small Business Enterprise. And to be honest, you know, I think when there may be a fear of using certain words that aren't popular, like equity, you create a workaround. But I've always had concerns as to contractors that are in the program receiving the amount for which the business listed on the original contract. Because I believe that people should receive what they're promised. And when that doesn't happen, there is a word in law called unjust enrichment. Because we don't take back the contract once it's been awarded. So let's start with Veronica talking about how businesses within the Hispanic community are navigating and what we're doing to ensure that they're educated on doing business in DeKalb.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for understanding that definitely the community is experiencing a transition and a time period, I think, of difficulty, you know, overall. And, you know, sometimes it's a tough conversation to have. You know, one of the things that I want to impress upon that the Georgia Hispanic Chamber has been here supporting our business community for over 40 years to create access, opportunity, and connections, and to be the voice of our Hispanic businesses in the areas where we can serve and bring a light and create that ramp of accessibility and opportunity. You know, one of the things that you need to know about is that we're hosting the United States Hispanic Chamber's National Conference here in 2025 this month, September 21st to the 23rd. And it's important, you know, when we put the bid in that beat many other major cities and even an island.
And congratulations.
We understood that 2025 would be a very important year for Atlanta to be the place to host this conversation on economic opportunities, on economic growth, and economic impact. And you know, just this week I was speaking to a financial advisor who is a member of our organization, and I asked him, I said, well, how are your folks doing? And I have had many conversations, depending on if you're a startup business, if you're an established business, and you know, he said, Veronica, we are like 80% working with the general market, and 20%, you know, with some of our Latino businesses. And I think you see a grave difference in those Latino businesses specifically that he is serving and that we're serving, to an extent that there's a bit of fear that's out there. Unfortunately, narrative shaping, I think, is something that we can use to our benefit, and we can use to our dismay. And the real narrative about the Latino and the Hispanic business community is that we're economic engines, that we are driving and supporting and a critical part of our workforce, that we are generating and starting businesses faster than any other group, that Latinas, and I see you here in the crowd today, are starting businesses 6 times faster than any other group. But there has been, a narrative shaping. Nobody wants bad agents anywhere. And I think we know that. But the community in itself is not and should not be portrayed as a bad agent. We are contributors. We are supporting your community. We're building better lives for our family. I think about my family that came here 43 years ago, and because of their effort and their initiatives and their goals, I'm here sitting as the CEO of one of the largest chambers in the country, bringing the largest conference to Georgia so that we can all do business together. And at the end of the day, the conversation is an economic conversation. Yes, there is a bit of fear. Yes, we've seen in some of our corridors in DeKalb County, businesses shutting down, foot traffic being reduced. We saw a lot of that towards the beginning of the year. We're starting to see a little bit of an uptick. But there has definitely been, a change and impact in our community, people rethinking about what they're doing. But again, there's another side of the coin as well of some of our Hispanic businesses, that are in different key sectors that are taking advantage of the obstacles and the opportunities that this market brings, which is what we should all be focused on as well, is where are we finding ways forward. So I don't want to take us away from how is our community, and I appreciate that because yes, there is definitely a sense of we're uncomfortable, with a lot of narratives, and business has been affected, and communities are being affected, our neighbors are being affected. And regardless of what status looks like, which now there's an association that everyone is of a particular status, I would just challenge our community leaders here in this group that let's not make judgment just like we don't make judgments about others. Let's work on building and leaning in together. There's a lot of work that we can do, and we're grateful for those that speak up on behalf of our community, because sometimes that narrative is better listened to or heard from others who may not necessarily look like us. And so that's our real talk, of what we're experiencing. I am a person that, and I think our community, the resiliency of our members here today, that I see in the audience, we're finding ways forward despite what's going on, but there are businesses closing, there are businesses shutting down, and there are businesses being birthed, and that's a reality of where we're at. And so thank you for the intentionality of asking, but as our USHCC president would say, the color that we care about is green, and I think everybody in this room wants to make more green. And we're about driving green, and green means that we're building and doing business together, and that looks like everybody in this room, and there's a lot of green to be made together. And so I would say, let's be mindful of what's out there, speak up for your neighbor, support your neighbor, and I would advise and ask of you, because I think there's very few of us here in this room today, get to know us. There's so much more in common than we have, apart. And we have a young, growing, burgeoning, U.S. citizen community that are going to be your future employees, that you're going to be doing business with, and we should be working together and building together. So thank you for the question. I hope I answered it to the best of my ability, but I'm very proud to lead this as CEO of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber during this time in our community. So that we can continue to be bridge builders together. And I'm not trying to soften it, I'm just saying there's a lot going on, but we will always, just as in the majority of us that got here, that left our home countries to dream a new dream and have built here, we have the DNA of resiliency to find forward, but we also need policies and the ability to work together. And we know that we have some things to fix around workforce and immigration that impact the entire economy. So work to do there. It's a very complex conversation that I urge our business community to be a part of, because decisions are being made that need your business lens at the table, or the decisions will be made on your behalf. And that can impact industry, that can impact investments, and you may have one business headed with a strategic plan in one industry and area and have to completely shift that depending on how policies and things are changed. So that's my answer, Madam CEO.
Good,
I'm sticking with it.
That's a great answer. And let me say that I don't think there's anyone who's better positioned at this moment of uncertainty and change than you to lead
Thank
the
you.
Hispanic Chamber.
Thank you. Thank you very
So
much.
thank you. And next, I'm going to engage you, Terry. And from your perspective with the Small Business Administration, which I would imagine is probably amongst or the #1 lender, I would think. So I want to hear from you on that. But what are some of the greatest challenges that you as an agency are experiencing at this time, as well as individuals who are seeking small business loans?
Okay. I'll probably take it from the standpoint of challenges that small businesses are facing that we're hearing. I think generally there's concerns around cost, you know, the things that you need to produce your good or service are increasing, labor costs increasing, and how to manage that because that's actually going to squeeze your profitability. But and kind of also related to that, supply chain, that's another big thing, especially if you produce a product. You know, the certainty or uncertainty of getting those necessary inputs to do what you need to do, manufacture or produce a service, vendor availability. You know, some of your suppliers have gone out of business. Where do I go to replace them? If I was getting things from, you know, overseas, you know, there's a lack of certainty in
And
being able to
also,
do that.
let me say that, you know, for any of you that do business overseas, the cost of shipping right now has honestly gone through the roof. And one of the things that concerns me most sitting where I sit is the effect that this will have later, because there is no way that what we're experiencing will not have a trickle-down effect.
Absolutely.
Because when costs increase, someone has to absorb it. It has to go into the cost of the good or service. And who's the consumer? All of us. If you're the business owner, you absorb the cost and you pass it on. So are you beginning at this moment to see business owners that are expressing concern?
We are. We've been hearing that. Also, I think labor, you know, being able to acquire talent and keep that talent. You know, you're a small business competing against larger corporations that you have nice benefit packages. So how do you keep those employees? How do you develop them in a way that fits within your budget, and will also allow that person to develop and more likely stay or be productive elsewhere in our economy? And then, of course, the forever, I guess, favorite issue, I shouldn't say favorite, but big issue is access to capital. Not only having the right amount of capital, but also the right type of capital, you know, based on what your company needs. You know, debt versus equity, you know, making sure you have the right mix there. Also, I think in terms of, you know, lines of credit and asset-based lending versus term loans. So it's important to have the right type of capital as well as the right amount, and those can be challenges.
How many people in this room are looking for capital? Raise your hand right now.
And one other question I have, how many of you in here at this moment have an SBA loan?
Very few.
So this room is full of opportunity.
Yeah.
One of the things too that I want us to talk about, because, you know, as we talk about, you know, the increases in costs, supply chain, labor, if you will share with this audience the types of loans and services that you provide. Because I think, you know, again, we say here today, success is when preparation meets opportunity. And people reach out to me often, daily, and they are looking for money for their businesses. And let's be realistic, because oftentimes people call me, and by a show of hands, how many of you in here want a grant? I knew it. Now let's talk about that.
Yeah, no days.
I do too.
That's right.
Everyone wants a grant because they consider it free money.
That's right.
But the truth of the matter is, you know, you can do your own independent research, but DeKalb County doesn't have a grant to give you to start a business. It just doesn't work that way. But what we do have are resources and people who can work around you once you define who you are and what you need, and help you show yourself worthy to receive the money necessary to start that business. So let's talk about what it looks like to get there.
Okay. In terms of the Small Business Administration, we too do not have grants to start or grow your business.
make it clear.
And we do not provide direct loans except for where there's a disaster. For regular business needs, it's going to be a loan that a commercial lender or some other type of lending institution provides, and we guarantee that loan to cut their risk. Or we provide funds to another entity like, say, our micro-lenders organization, to make those small micro loans 50,000 under. So that's really what we do there. We provide guarantees on loan up to $5 million. If you're a manufacturer, it could be up to 5.5 with one of our programs. Also, do we have any construction companies here today?
Any construction companies?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Definitely, if you're doing business with government, be it federal, state, or local, you have to have contract surety bonding, and that can be a make or break factor for construction companies. The SBA actually guarantees contract surety bonds for bid surety bonds, performance and payment bonds once that contract is awarded. So we provide that as well. Then I think our counseling and training piece is the one that no one ever really thinks about. They want either the money or the contracting assistance, which we provide that in terms of federal contracts. But that middle piece there, counseling and education, we support a variety of organizations that provide those resources to help you from, I got a business idea, let me see if does this make sense? Does it have feasibility? Which a lot of times y'all just get out there with the first idea and didn't really have a market there, but that's for another conversation. But we have SCORE here today, our volunteer partner organization. We also work with the Small Business Development Center Network here in Georgia. We partner with the University of Georgia. We have women business centers, and we have actually a veteran business outreach center. And they all provide counseling, and it's not just for startups. As your business continues to grow, you're going to have new challenges, new opportunities, and as long as you're a small business, you can access these resources. So doing that work up front and really thinking things through or bouncing that idea off of someone, you know, I'm thinking about doing this, they can kind of, with objective eyes, kind of walk you through that. It will save you a lot of time, stress, and resources later.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things that you've said, I have witnessed over the past several years a lot of businesses that needed to pivot, okay? When one determines that something don't work, my mom used to say, another colloquialism, it works if you work it. Then you need to evaluate. And that's the thing about business. As the landscape changes, because all of us in this room experienced a global pandemic, you saw a lot of shifts in businesses that if they were going to survive, you had to have what I call an adaptive model. And also, I feel that in many ways, there were new opportunities that emerged. So I know in DeKalb County, when people come to us, often I hand them off Dorian DeBar over in Decide DeKalb and his team. He works with them to initially get them what we call packaged, meaning we sit down with you. We make sure you've thought about it. We make sure that all I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And then once you are marketable And once we understand what your margins look like, that's when we then send you along to the Terrys of the world, to our lenders if we do not have an in-house program that may work for you. So that now brings me over to Stacy. So as we
And
transition.
I'm ready for you too. I'm ready. I want to be real clear.
Don't you love it? As we transition over to Stacy, let's talk about access to opportunity. That's where supplier diversity and certification play a major role. And what does that look like at this moment?
As we all know, the world has changed. We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. The world has changed. That doesn't mean opportunity doesn't still exist, because it's still there. It could be just where you're looking. The place has changed in some cases. I'm hearing, and I'm going to pivot from all the questions a little bit. I'm hearing from some of my business owners that they're looking for full-time jobs. They're no longer looking at the small business that they own because of the environment has changed. We fortunately at GMSDC have staffing companies. Lisa, where's Lisa? She stepped out, okay, giving her a shout out. Staffing companies that are assisting some of our small businesses in finding full-time employment. Again, the world has changed. But there's still lots of opportunity across the board. So a couple of things. GMSDC, for those of you who may or may not know GMSDC and what we do, we're around for 50 years, celebrating 50 years this year. And what we do is we help small businesses grow. That's all we do. We do supply chain. It's all about the green, I think someone said. That's all we do every single day. If you are an enterprise, a small business like IPCOM, Monica Maldonado, been around, she's one of our longest standing certified minority business owners. That's grown over the years, yay. And there are others in this room. We're working to continue to make sure opportunities exist. So GMSDC will talk about certification. While some corporations are no longer looking at certification as a requirement, they're still looking at a requirement that you be vetted if you want to do business with corporate America. All the brands you know and love here and globally are parts of the GMSDC family. From the Coca-Cola, Home Depot, Southern Company, all of them are all part of our family. And we're actively working with them for opportunities. How many people know that the governor in this state has declared Small Business Week, the 15th through the 19th? Anybody know? Who knows this? Okay. Does everybody in this room know? During that week, on the 15th, we're kicking off Access to Capital, which all of these people are here a part of, at the Federal Reserve, and lining up people that have money to lend to you. Is anybody in this room registered for that event?
Okay, well, if you're receiving our newsletter, and I know that a lot of you are from Metro Atlanta, and I don't care where you're from.
We don't either.
Yeah, I need you to register. When it comes each week, look through it. If it doesn't apply to you, that's fine. But in order to make it easier, we do use headers that say business opportunity so that you immediately know. So you don't have to read about everything going on in DeKalb. We will put you in that business list. So let's make sure that you're registered so that we will get out notification to you. Because again, what we see, the key to success is now about education. We've just got to do this differently in order for you to be successful. And, you know, I'll say as an elected, for me, it's extremely important because what I see is inequity. And whether or not I'm using the term DEI, the way to overcome it is education. And it's good to know that, you know, as it relates to MBEs and the certifications, that the conversation continues and it matters.
Yes. And I will tell you, how many in here are certified business owners in various certifications? You can be SBA, you can be GMSDC, you can be WeBank. How many are certified? Okay.
And also, because some people may not know these acronyms that we're using.
Okay,
WeBank.
if you're WeBank is if you're a woman-owned business, if you're NGLCC is LGBTQ, GMSDC or NMSDC certified, U.S. Pan Asian Chamber, they certify. It doesn't matter what organization, That's a business decision and part of your strategy about being certified. But what certification does, it provides visibility. You're in a database that no other place you would be in for people to see you, to have access to you, and to reach out and call you, okay? Gives you credibility that you've been vetted, you are who you say you are, and corporations want that. They want to know you are who you are. And then it gives you access. Where else can you go meet with Coca-Cola? You can't pick up the phone and call Coke, but we do. These organizations do. On the 17th of September, we're hosting corporate roundtables where Coke, Home Depot, Delta Airlines, UPS, all the brands you know and love, 25, 30, 40 companies will be there. If you want to meet with the corporation, that's access. And whether you're a member of the Hispanic Chamber, the DeKalb Chamber, or any of these organizations, that provides access. Please find your community, your tribe, and connect and lean in with intentional action, wherever it happens to be. It could be GMSDC, Hispanic Chamber, DeKalb Chamber. Find your place. You cannot go this one alone. You need your community with you on this journey, okay? This one's going to be a rocky road for us. So find your community. It could be multiples. And lean in, and all of these organizations can help you. That's what they do. They help you and help your business grow.
And also let me say, locally for us, we have what's called iSupplier. And later on today, we're going to walk you through that process. And I want to say that many people in this room represent communities and groups of individuals. And we take our show on the road. Is that not correct, Attorney Butler? I don't see, yes. Attorney Butler is in charge of procurement in DeKalb County. And we have gone into organizations like the Latin American Association. We have the business owners bring their computers. We send a list of necessary documents, and we will walk you through the process so that when we walk out of the door, you are in the system. There is no way for you to compete if you aren't present. So whether it's through DeKalb County, federal level, I believe it's SAMS is the system where you need to go. Make sure you're registered there. Also, I want to point out to you to pay careful attention to things like SIC codes, your standard industry codes. Attorney Butler got me straight because our codes look totally different from
Using NACES codes probably.
yeah, but there's all kinds of codes. But the key to what I'm saying here is, for instance, if you do printing, you may print brochures, you may print folders. We need you to choose everything for which you have the capacity to do. If you don't take the time and find all the codes, then you have engaged in what I call self-elimination, because you won't receive the notification of the opportunity, okay? I'm going to even go a step further. Once an opportunity comes out, if you read it, you feel it's in line with what you can do. In government, the one thing I've found about us, we don't get brand new. We have a lot of people who like doing what they did just because that was the way it was done. That's what I found. So always look at other bids that have been submitted in the category for which you're now seeking an opportunity. It can often be very enlightening to you so that you understand how better to position yourself so that you're successful when you're submitting that bid opportunity as well.
But leverage organizations like us that we can help you with bids and submitting RFPs and responses, and how to, we can help. Organizations help do that.
So I'd love to piggyback off of Stacy, and one of our questions was, what's the value of being a part of a chamber or an association or an organization? And I think that it's really important to give you guys, just some critical facts, right? One, being a part of DeKalb, Georgia Hispanic, GMSDC, of which, by the way, we all have strategic partnerships and relationships with one another.
Small Business Alliance.
We're aligning. We're extending connection, because having a network when times are uncertain and when there's times of transition, knowledge is power, and you need to go to sources that have it. And oftentimes, you may not have everything you need at your fingertips, But our job is to serve you, to be a conduit, to be a catalyst, to be a convener, to be a champion, and to be a connector to the things that you need, that you may not have the connection, but we can find it for you, whether we have it or we seek it and we search for it. And I want to share with you, we have a critical role for guidance, resources, and advocacy. We know small businesses operate on thin margins. It was evident through COVID. I think it still continues to be a challenge today. And during transitions, which can also be opportunity, and I am with Stacy that transitions, when one world kind of comes apart, a new world is born, and you have to see and just as a business owner, you already have an innovation mindset. You are thinking about how to pivot, how to change, how to create, how to drive value, how to provide services and support. And the resiliency that you have is already number one to doing anything. So during transitions, there's opportunity. And we knew that less than 20% had cash reserves to cover 3 months of expenses. So you need us to have the connections to the access to capital. Just this past weekend, I had a conversation with someone. They were like, I got 3 contracts, but guess what? My cash flow is low. And I said, okay, here's all of our institutions, plus here's some alternative, plus here's another, because we don't want you to say no to business opportunities when it's there, but you also need to know how to advocate, how to ask for maybe a speedier payment if there's the opportunity, how to leverage and diversify your capital portfolio so that you can say yes to the opportunities that are there. And so that's what an organization can do for you. And then we're a bridge. GHCC, apart from the 150 events that we do and the niche opportunities and all of strategic levels, being a public policy and legislative advocacy and being your small business voice, we have a 501c3 Hispanic Business Center, with which, thankfully, we've done some great work with DeKalb County. We launched an accelerator. We've supported those businesses in DeKalb County. We've got another one coming up for women that's open, that is, free to you. And by the way, the number one question that I get asked is, do I have to be Hispanic to be a part of your chamber and a member? I said, no, you don't. No, you don't. And we have had the largest increase of members. Hello, collaborative firm, who's a member of the GHCC. Do you look Latino? I don't know. You could be Dominican, Puerto Rican, Panamanian, because we reflect the rainbows of the universe. We are not looking like, we reflect everybody. And so, but yes, thank you for being a member of the GHCC. Our goal for 40 years has been to be a bridge to other communities. So we want you to be a member of ours. But we are connectors. We provide you with contracts, contractual opportunities. We have a doing business with Delta Airlines and how to be a supplier. We're working with our national partners to bring that opportunity. Thank you to our Hispanic Business Center, who's going to be doing more doing business with. We brought them to our regional conferences. And so we have that connection. And at the end of the day, we've talked about amplifying the voice. So we're here to be a bridge, and we're here to listen. I think part of what we've all been doing during this time is understanding your unique pain points and trying to drive, whether it's programming, customizing solutions, or being creative in helping you get what you need. And if you're not talking to us, you're not leveraging us, because our job is to be here for you. And so, the door is open for me, whether you are, anything, we are going to work with you and we're going to build. And I want to thank again, DeKalb Chamber, who's a great member, great partner. We have an event to make sure that our community, wherever you are geographically, that you can get access to connecting with folks from across the country, and the state.
One thing I'd like to add in terms of how to navigate challenging times, the key is the planning discipline. First of all, you got to work on the assumption that it's not a matter of if there's going to be an economic downturn.
It's when.
It's when and how.
That's right.
So, a lot of times those who do plan, because I know there's some of you who don't, you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. For those who do plan, a lot of time they plan for the best case scenario or maybe the most likely scenario, but no one really thinks about, well, let's run some scenarios if things don't go according to plan. What if my revenues fall 25% below projection? What if my costs go up 15%? How does that impact my balance sheet? How does that impact my profit and loss statement? How long can I operate? At what point am I not operable anymore? How long does it take me to get to that point? And then once you've kind of identified that, then you can come up with some strategies. You know, do I need to diversify my revenue stream? Maybe I do some exporting because rarely do we have a global crisis, and there are a lot of emerging countries that have emerging economies that they're not having a recession.
Right.
So you can spread your risk that way. Have a game plan for things that could happen, you know, common things that could go wrong. Have an initial game plan. You'll have to tweak it when the actual situation come up, but at least you have a game plan. Once the crisis starts, you can't then use that time to say, oh, let me see if I can figure it out, because you're losing time. And the key is you want to be in the best position to try to get to a solution and to make changes or adapt to what's going on, and get it fixed out, you know, fixed up before you, or resolved before you actually.
It becomes detrimental.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think that's so important, and we don't talk about that enough.
And we're adapting and changing as organizations as well, just as much as our small businesses. I think one key thing that maybe we haven't thought about, and hopefully we can have a lot more conversation is, you know, the climate is real, and we know Georgia has been impacted by natural disasters. It's actually disaster relief month, and so you need to know that with changes and shifts that are happening, where are the resources to help my business to withstand changes if you're impacted? I know that we as a chamber in 2026, we're going to be taking a lot more active role in making sure that our businesses have the continuity plan in place for any kind of emergency preparedness. And if you're not thinking about that, you need to think about it. You need to think about the impact of any natural disaster, and how is that going to impact your business? Where's the data? Where's the information? You know, where's the insurance component? And so you're going to start to see a lot of us that are, you know, boots on the ground working with our small businesses to talk a little bit more of preparedness, because one of those disasters can wipe out your business.
And let me say, in DeKalb County, we average about 960 water main breaks per year. That breaks down to 3 to 4 per day. I'm being real. And one water main break can have a detrimental effect on a business and revenue. So this goes deep, but at this moment, I would like to allow Stacy, if you have any closing thought, we're going to end with you today that you'd like to share for our small business owners.
And I'll be brief, I think I've said it along the journey today. Find your community wherever that happens to be. Whether it's with a chamber or organization, find your spot and let them help you navigate these interesting times. You do not have to go this alone. As Veronica said, and Terry, we're working collaboratively across. We're going to leverage each other naturally, but find your place and lean in intentionally to save if your business is in, you know, in a difficult spot. But again, find your community, lean in, and leverage those resources to help you grow and thrive would be my recommendation.
And thank you. And with that, we will bring this panel discussion to a close. I'd like to thank you, ladies, for joining us. And to all of you out there, you know, we talk often about degrees of separation, and they say, as a general rule, there's 6 degrees of separation from one individual to anyone that you want to know. And I am very proud to say that, you know, when you build the right network, you can simply get things done.
Yep.
Because you know who to call. So when we say lean in, your presence here today, you're already leaning in. And just know that our success is a direct reflection of you. So feel free to reach out to us, make sure you're registered with us. At this time, again, I'd like to acknowledge Benchmark Management, the International Design Services, and if you're here, please stand with those organizations. DeKalb WorkSource, also Advanced Engineering and Construction, Jacobs, the Atlanta Black Expo, C.D. Moody Construction, Pond, R&B Communications, and the Collaborative Firm.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes,
all so
thank you.
much for making this possible.
Thank you.
Okay?